You know, life is a peach. You take a bite and you let the juices run down your face, man. So
oh my God.
When you grow up in an obscure little island, it's like, and no one does anything kind of outside of their zone.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be one of those people. I wanted to break out of my zone and see the world.
So this is Dan of Vagabond Awake, and this is our new friend Gump. We're here in Boracay, and we were sitting at the bar with Gump, and we realized he's the kind of traveler we are. He's been 40 some odd countries, or
44, but in a month I'll be at 47.
That's right. Yeah, you're off to
Taiwan, South Korea, Japan.
Man, of those three, I've only been to Japan, and boy, did I love it.
Yeah,
Do you know where you're going there?
I'm going to Taipei in a week tomorrow, and then I'm going to go to Seoul and Tokyo. But of course, I'm going to bop around all over the bloody place if I can. And 2 weeks ago, I was just in the island of Borneo, Java, and Singapore. And a year ago, probably today, I was in Laos. I did Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam. Maybe I'm forgetting shit, but. And also, like I told you, I'd like to see, I'm fascinated with that tsunami. I'd like to see possibly the remnants. I don't want to go to the Fuji, whatever, the nuclear plant, but I'd like to see some of that if it's possible.
I've watched a lot of those videos we were talking about. It's just amazing the power of that thing.
I'm from British Columbia, and sometimes there are landslides that just eliminate towns, right?
Right.
And it just fascinates me, the power of nature that can just take out.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me happy, but it just blows my mind how all of a sudden in one day, you know,
Yeah, it's amazing. So, well, that's quite a story. But you started earlier than me. I really didn't start traveling. I'd only been to maybe 10 countries by the time I hit 45. But you started young, didn't you?
Yeah, when I was 19, I was a farm boy who grew up milking a cow.
Right.
And slopping pigs. So from a little island called Salt Spring Island in British Columbia, no fast food, nothing. Just so I had no experience in cities.
Right.
And my girlfriend at the time went to Athens, so I thought, okay, I'll go up to Athens and visit her.
Right.
So when I was going there was a telephone operator strike. And I was supposed to arrive at a certain time in Athens airport. The airplane was late. I had to take a different flight to get there. So I arrive in Athens as this farm boy, right?
Yeah.
And she'd come earlier. I wasn't there. She thought he didn't make it.
Yeah.
So a city of 2.5 million people, I went hotel to hotel on Christmas Eve trying to find this girl.
Wow.
And I actually found her. It was an amazing evening.
In Athens.
Yeah.
That's a big city.
Yes, it was pretty special. And then we went to Crete from there to I'm a history person. We went to the Palace of Knossos, and from there we went to Alexandria, Pompey's Pillar, the catacombs in Alexandria.
Wow.
Took the train to Cairo, and did this is in 1979. No, we spent 1980 in Athens, and then a month later, Reagan freed the Iranian hostages.
Right.
I mean, this is old shit, you know?
Yeah.
And so went to Cairo, mind-blowing. I mean, I'm just a peasant at the, you know, it was pow, and it was the most amazing experience. And then the National Museum of Cairo was the King Tut exhibit. The whole thing was there. Most of the whole thing was there at the time. But at the time, they had not dug up anything around the pyramids. So all of the ruins, apparently now everything's dug up, but you would see these huge doorways filled with sand this high, right?
Yeah.
And it was amazing. Then we went to the Valley of down south to Luxor, the Valley of the Kings. At the time, you could go into King Tut's tomb. Karnak was amazing. Did all that. Then we went back up to Alexandria and I flew back to Athens, and then I went to Norway from there. And then my plane got delayed in London, so I got 48 hours in London, if you could believe it, for free, paid by Air Canada with free hotel, free food, everything.
Yeah.
It was like glasses Dios, but it was amazing.
So you
time.
caught the bug. Did it feel like
I've always had the bug. Since I was a little boy, I've pored over atlases, you know. Lake Albert in Africa, how cool. It's like my name. And just little shit, like when you grow up in an obscure little island, it's like, and no one does anything kind of outside of their zone.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be one of those people. I wanted to break out of my zone and see the world. It was an obsession almost.
So was there someone you met, or like what was the thing that first got you going? If you would like to learn how I fired my boss and traveled the world for 16 years and how I pay for things, grab a free copy of my ebook.
It was my elementary school teacher, Mr. Woodley, whose son is my oldest friend. I've known him, we were born a month apart in the same hospital room probably, and I've known him since the age of 1 or whatever. I've known him as long as I know myself. But his father was an elementary school teacher. And he would talk about the Egyptians and the Greeks and ancient history, and I just became fascinated with history. Right. And it's been my passion my whole life. I'm 63 years old, and I have 2 books of Plutarch in my room right now. I just love it. It's what my passion is too.
So when you travel to a new country, do you read about it before you go? Do you read it as you're there? How do you immerse yourself in what the history and the culture and whatnot?
Well, usually before I go to a place, it's depending on the place. I mean, I've been to so many places, but I love museums, whether it's an art museum, whether it's historical. I love art. I love anything. I don't know what the humanities,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
And so, but I do research what I do before I can, to the best I can do, but you can never do it properly. There's always something you didn't do enough, you know. It's true, and but you do what you can do, you know, and but. Every country's huge. It's like I'm going to go to India in a few months. How do you research India? I mean, it's just impossible. There's so much to you're going to miss something. Someone's going to go, well, did you not go to there? Well, shit, I missed that damn thing. Excuse my language, but
it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I worked in India for 3 years, and the people I worked with had all gone to this company, and they were there, and whenever they got time off, they would go back to their family, their village they grew up in. And so, but I would travel on holidays and long weekends and all that around India. Whenever I would come back, they'd want to hear about India.
Yeah.
And so because the family unit is so strong in India, they didn't get to see as much as India as I did. Because I would have had to, you know, on a 5-day weekend, I can't fly back to the U.S. to see my family.
Yeah.
And so I got to see their country, and it was fun telling them what I found.
I hope to share stories of my adventures with you one day, brother.
Yeah, I do too. I'm excited for you. And
it's not an if. it's a win.
Exactly.
But hopefully next April I'll be there.
So what are some of the things that happened in your travels that kind of stick in your mind? Like, what are the sorts of things when you think about a country that
it's how much time do you have? I mean, wandering the Serengeti, seeing every, I love, they say the lion is the king of the jungle, but the giraffe is the queen, the most beautiful animal you will ever see in the wild. It's just gorgeous. Zebras are little tough bastards, I love being in Africa, wandering up the coast up to Lamu and Panda Island, where the elephants swim between the islands and stuff. But I've been to, this is not an easy thing to explain. I've been to so many places.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
But going into the Congo through Uganda, from the pygmies to the music, and just the oddities. You sit in a town and you see some guy running and 40 people following this guy. And you say, what's going on? Well, he stole something and they're going to kill him. I mean, that's kind of the reality in those countries at the time.
Yeah.
And everywhere, like I told you, we've talked about, when I was there in 1983 in Kenya, Uganda, Congo, Egypt, Israel, Turkey, Greece, Italy, anyways, all these places.
Yeah.
He's a young 23-year-old man. I spent my 23rd birthday in Bunia in the Congo.
How does a 23-year-old pay for all this?
Well, at the time, we were fortunate enough to have industries, whether you could go fishing for a few months. I wasn't a fisherman, but there was, or loggers, you could go in a logging camp. I worked in oil camps for months. You'd go from October until March, with maybe a couple weeks off here and there, and then you come out with a bunch of money, and you could go do what you wanted to do.
Right.
At that time, it was great.
So it was seasonal work.
Seasonal work.
But you're here in Boracay now. How long have you been here?
I came here in 2019 to visit my friend Finn, who's lived here for a couple decades, and I love it here. I've got a nice little apartment for 20,000 pesos a month, which is about less than 400 American a month. Is my penthouse little studio that I have.
Nice.
It's tiny, but it's all I need. I'm by myself.
Right.
Yeah.
And what would you say on an average month you spend here?
I spend on an average month. See, I drink beer.
What?
And I go to restaurants. I don't cook food at home.
Okay.
So my average $250 a week, probably.
So plus rent.
Plus rent, yeah.
So $1,400 a month.
Say $2,000 a month for
$2,000
me.
a month.
But I'm a little spoiled, I guess. But
well, look at this life for $2,000. So since 2019, and some of that was lockdown, right? You were here during the lockdown?
No, I wasn't here. I was in Canada taking care of my son during the lockdown.
Okay.
Yeah. I left 3 days before they closed the Manila airport down.
Wow.
So I just escaped.
You just beat it.
Yeah. No, but my family needed me at the time, so there was no choice about that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So over the years, have you been a consistent traveler like that, or are there times you travel more than others?
Well, I traveled a lot between 19 and 23, and then we would do little forays to Hawaii or Mexico or whatever, a lot of that. And then in '89, I did a huge trip through South America, through Peru, Bolivia, Chile, Argentina, Uruguay, and Brazil. I walked the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu, 3-day hike. I went to throughout Chile.
Wow.
Traveled up the coast to Rio de Janeiro for 10 days of Carnival.
Carnival, yeah.
I was going to say Mardi Gras. No, Carnival. And which was amazing. And I told you the story of my time in of Rio, where I'm just a dude with a Lonely Planet book.
Yeah.
And the bus runs out of gas on the way from the airport into town. And I meet this guy behind me in a seat behind me, and he's, "Where are you staying?" "Well, I'm going to go to Copacabana because it's the cheapest place."
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh no, Ipanema is the beach to go. I have an apartment a block from the beach.
Right.
Come stay with me."
Yeah.
So I made these amazing friends when I was there. It was just, I've been a very lucky person throughout my travels. Even in my time in Kenya and going through Uganda and the Congo, I met this Finnish missionary who said to me, "Come visit me in Nakuru." And I met his father, who took me on this amazing adventure through Uganda into the Congo to see the pygmies.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, do you see, at 63 now,
Yeah.
how do you see your future in terms of travel? Are you going to be more sedentary, do you think? Are you going to continue to keep traveling? Or
Sedentary is cementary to me. No, I will not be sedentary. I am going to be bopping around as long as I got a set of legs,
Right on.
Yeah, it's not as easy as it used to be. I can't walk the Inca Trail again like I used to.
Right.
But I am going to go and go and go as long as whoever she is up above gives me the power.
That's what my dad always used to say.
to motor these bastards.
Yeah.
And yeah, in the last 2 years, I've been to over 20 countries easily. I just did a 9-country tour of Europe. I've seen almost every country in Southeast Asia now, except I'm about to finish off this thing, except for China, I guess, which I'd love to see.
Yeah.
But it's not that easy because you have to be in your home country to get a visa to go to China as a Canadian, I guess.
Right.
But no, and then in the fall, I'm going to go to Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, India, Nepal, and then maybe to East Africa, depending on the time constraints.
So do you think you'll keep your apartment here while you're doing all that travel?
No.
Or
No.
So you don't leave an empty bed when you go?
I'd like to keep it here, but my plan is to live in different cities around the world. I'd love to live in Rome for a year.
Yeah.
I'd love to live in Mexico City for a year.
Yeah.
And that's I have friends all around the world. And I'd love to live in Prague or Santiago or whatever. So
They're all great cities.
yeah. So I'm gonna life is a peach. You take a bite and you let the juices run down your face, man.
Oh
So
my God! I tell you, we are brothers from the same mother or something. Because the way when you talk, it lights me up hearing your stories. I just wanted you guys to meet him because he's a fascinating man. And I asked him if I could interview him, and he said, "Oh, my life, it's boring. You don't want to hear about it." But for me, just the way his enthusiasm about travel is just so amazing. And Chung's over here nodding and smiling. We really enjoy hearing
thank
your stories.
you. I've had people killed beside me. I've been attacked by people. I've seen babies die in front of me practically, the experiences you get when you travel make you realize how blessed you are as a human. You know, if you come from a first world country especially, you know, it makes you realize you're the lucky one. And people, if you're in a first world country, and you know, I know it's tough, but many people have it a lot tougher, you know.
Yeah. And travel teaches you that.
It sure does. And it teaches you compassion, empathy, love, and patience. Because you got to have patience to travel, man.
And it's the best education in the world.
Well, it's one of the best educations in the world.
For sure. Yeah.
But,
Well, _Q_, thanks so much for
my
taking
brother.
the time to share this with my audience. I really
Much love, my friend.
Right on. Could you please help me with something? You've probably watched our guest star interviews on our guest star playlist. I interview people that have retired overseas. They share valuable information such as cost of living, safety concerns, finding love overseas, healthcare experiences, and money problems. If you'd like to share something that you have learned living overseas, please come to vagabondbuddha.com, click the More tab, click the Contact Me tab, and tell me about what you would like to share with my channel.